Welcome back to the Warren Ballentine Show, heard coast to coast and border to border, giving the truth fighters a voice in the call for justice. 877-373-9766. 877-373-9766. Join the truth fighters in full effect right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now.
All right, truth fighters, if you're just joining us, just tuning in. We are talking with the Professor Dick Gregory. When we went to break, Dick was talking about how Ronald Reagan woke up with a man.
No, not woke up. He went in the White House, went up to his room, where he sleeps to get ready to go to bed. It was two men, the same ones that he talked to and told him he was president. They were sitting on his couch, on his bed. Okay.
Now, what was the conversation? What were they waiting for him for?
Kissinger. That's why Kissinger, now you can punch it up. Kissinger cannot leave this country. He's been indicted for murder at the Hague Court. And that's why Kissinger's files was secretly wrapped up as if though he was the president. Okay, all of those death squads, Kissinger put them together under Ronald Reagan's watch when Reagan didn't want it. Okay, now let me show you how it works. You talk to your mother every day, right?
Every other day.
Okay, well,
you know, I can only take so much of Peaches now. Peaches,
all right.
You know me a little bit.
Okay, all right. Now, so let's look at it now. Well, don't talk to Peaches every day. One day, talk to the fuzz. All Peaches got fuzz.
You a mess.
Now, watch this. Let's say you and your mother have this huge mansion, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you share. One, she shares another one your brother shares. Huge mansion, right?
Right.
Now, let's say the mansion is 80 years old, right?
Right.
So let's say you bought it for the family 20 years ago, right?
Right.
So then the house then was 60 years old, right?
Right.
Did y'all search that house for secret doors and secret rooms and stuff?
Probably not.
Okay, now, so what make you think that the President of the United States is going to check the White House for little secret doors? Now, let's go to Dracula. Remember the movie?
Yeah, Dracula.
You remember the white lady was laying in the bed, asleep with that wonderful gown on, and they showed the full moon. Remember?
Right.
And then they showed a wolf. Oh! And then when they showed back in the room what she thought was book stands, them doors had slid open. The old wolf man there.
Right. Right.
And now she laid in bed dead, and the doors closed. Right.
Right.
All right. Now I'm saying this to say what they did the other day. You see, when they threw the shoe at Bush, okay, they was telling him, you don't control this. It could have been germ warfare, punk, and you'd have been dead.
Right.
See, we look at it as a shoe. We don't look at the significance of how it's impossible for somebody to do that with all the people scattered around in the audience that just look like ordinary people.
Right.
Did you see what they told the Pope the other day?
Oh, yeah, when the lady jumped over the aisle?
Wait a minute. Listen, they told the Pope, you ain't in charge, right? Do you know the Pope has Swiss guards? You aware of that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the Pope's guards cannot be Catholic? Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that.
Now think about how is this mighty church telling everybody to be Catholic, but the people who guard the Pope can't be Catholic? Is that kind of?
Yeah, that's kind of backwards.
Okay, now so they just told the Pope the other day, whatever it is we've been asking you, you not been listening to, she could have took you out. Okay. Now, let's go back to Queen Elizabeth. Now, this is really, because they kind of hinted. See, all you got to do is hint scandal, and people forget to dig for facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
You remember Queen Elizabeth woke up one night and there was a man in the room?
I do remember that,
okay.
Yeah.
And now, if you think you can slip in the palace with the palace guard, right? So she kept talking to him and pushing the buzzard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the buzzard. It came for 20 minutes. Since when do my palace go? Where was it? Down the street at McDonald's? She said, well, can I help you? Do you want? They was letting her know you are not in charge, okay?
Right.
Now, the message the other day was, they wasn't blowing up the plane, man. The message the other day is, whenever we get ready to do it, we can do it, okay? Now let's watch this. Now, let's go back to the plane, okay?
Right.
You heard the news on on Christmas Day. It always happens on a holiday when everybody's at home, right?
Right.
And they can feed you the same stuff. But here's the problem. With 24-hour news now, huh? The CIA, see, they can control NBC, CBS. Do you realize 98% of the lesbian and gay bars and joints in Washington, D.C. is controlled and operated by the CIA and the FBI? Do you realize why it's going to be hard to get this investigation going? Because they got so much dirt on the senators and Congress. But you remember Nancy Pelosi said the CIA lied to us?
Right.
And them Republican thugs and the Democrats who's on the payroll because they can see, you don't have to do nothing. When you got the New York Times and the Washington Post and the Chicago Tribune, when you got them in the hip pocket, right?
Right.
And all they got to do is flash stuff, and they pick it up. So why wouldn't my grandmother believe it, right?
Right.
And so consequently, what they're able to do now is they say, now, here's a guy that came over here on a plane. But what they wasn't ready for. Now, let's go back, because you've been watching this on TV, right?
I've been following.
All right, now let's go back. He's sitting on a plane. They made a mistake to show the diagram of the plane. You know, when you look at these boats that they brought the slaves on, how they show you a top view of how they was there?
Right.
So they did a diagram of the plane, and they showed you a red dot was sitting, right?
Right.
Then they told you the hero. Did you see the hero with his hand all bandaged up?
Yep.
Like he got burned.
Right.
Right. But the people sitting next to him, nobody got burned, right? Now, if you look at the dot and then see how far back on the plane he was, right?
Right.
How do he know what's going on up there? Unless he knew, right?
Right.
So he runs up. How do you know the guy wasn't drunk? I mean, when you look at him, he looked like a 13-year-old innocent little child. Okay, he runs up, right? Now, nobody around him grabbed him, right?
Right.
He runs up from the back and grabbed him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's where they messed up. You saw it, the government, FBI and them putting handcuffs on him, right?
Right.
On him, right?
Right.
He had a white T-shirt on, right?
Right.
Who took them pictures, man? If you and I are in the bank tonight, right?
Right.
If somebody robbed the bank and you pull your camera out to take a picture, don't every cop in there think it's a gun?
Yep.
Okay, so what makes you think in the middle of one of the major operations since September the 11th, right?
Right.
That they're going to let some ordinary citizen with his damn camera take a picture of this operation. First, you don't know how many people on that plane is with him.
Right.
So you can't have nobody gathering around. You got to have them seated down. You hear me? So nobody's questioning who took that picture, right?
Right.
Now where they messed up with that 24-hour news, they interviewed a husband and wife. Did you see that? They said before anybody boarded the plane, my husband and I were standing, waiting for him to board, and we saw this young man was a well-dressed Indian. Huh?
Yeah, and look, the husband and wife, I think the husband was an attorney.
Yep. Right. With this well-dressed Indian, right?
Right.
And we heard him say to the gate agent, he have to get on this plane, and he don't have no passport, right?
Right, right.
And so the guy said, well, look, we can't let him on. He said, well, what about your supervisor? He said, well, let me go get him. The supervisor came and carried him on, right? They were asked on TV, well, did the FBI interview you? Say, yeah. For how long? Oh, about 15 minutes. Have anybody got in contact with you since? No. Now think about this, man. His husband and wife told him what we see. Now first, you got to talk to them, because if they lying, they could be part of it. The father of the young man went to the American Embassy.
Right.
And that's controlled by State Department. We haven't heard from our sister yet. We haven't heard from Hillary.
Right.
What's that about? We
Right.
heard from everybody put their 2 cents in. We heard from people on the plane, but we haven't heard from Hillary.
Right.
Now, let's go back. If the father, I have 10 children, right?
Right.
12 grandchildren. If I had a child in England, or a grandchild in England, and all of once they disappeared, the first thing I do is go to the British embassy.
Right.
And ask
That's
them.
right. That's right.
Now, I'm not saying they didn't, but that's what happens when you give me the information you want me to have. Look, you see, I had a daughter that 2 PhDs from the London School of Economics. Mm-hmm. And I said to my wife, Lil, the other day, I said, let me tell you how it works. Suppose they would have taken Michelle and manipulated her, called mind control, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this happened because somebody on that plane said he looked like a zombie. Did you see that? That's mind control, man.
Mm-hmm.
He don't know nothing about what's going on. They just take you, and now all the ones Britain kick him out because they done their job. Now the CIA and the FBI, and the FBI is way down on the pecking order. And British intelligence, they manipulating the whole thing. Now we see information coming out and coming out and coming out, and nobody's making sense. First,